All right. So in our last video, we're going to create block variations. The process ultimately is very similar to creating our first block. But this time we're going to make changes to the existing block that we have. So let's go ahead and start doing that. All right. So the first thing I think I want to do is get our internal polygon tool, and I'm going to, let's see, maybe create a hemline and just put it at the bottom. Let's see, click this, and I'll put it about here. But before I do that, let me go ahead and actually activate that. So you want to make sure, as you can see, we can click, and whatever's clicked. So you have to click it again just to remove it from that activation. So now we can go ahead and start editing our pattern. So I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in a little bit and get in there close and click and hold down the shift key while I drag over this point. And I'm just gonna go in and create some lines just to create some variation to the garment that wasn't there before. And so I'm going to do the same thing to the back piece here. Again, we're not creating the most detailed shirt. This is more about giving you an understanding of how creating a general block will be, so then you can attempt the same process on your garments. I'm going to do the same thing to the sleeve as well. And of course, because that is symmetrical, it's going to show up on the other one. Perfect. All right. So we're going to go ahead and select the point. We're going to select cut and sew. That's going to cut and sew it together within that particular piece. Do the same thing to the front and to the back as well. Click. All right, great. All right, everything looks proper. Just trying to see if these line up. Generally, you would want these to be the same. So I'm going to move this up just a little bit more just to make it close. But generally, you would want these to be as close as possible in your actual garment designs. All right, let's see. Oh, that is good. That line is about the same as the other. All right. So now that we've created this, what we're going to need to do now is sew the garment to the cage. Okay. So let's go ahead and go to the edit sew, segment sewing, and we're just going to go in here and start sewing things together like before. But there will be a little bit of difference, and I'll show you that in here in a second. Click here, click here, and just keep going around your garment. There we go. And the other sleeve opening. All right. So the trick here is you can't technically sew one piece to the side, but we have two pieces here. So in order for this to actually work, you want to hover your mouse over the first edge, because if you do that, you just saw that that's not going to work. So hover your mouse over. Clicking or holding down the shift key is going to turn green. Hold down the shift key, click, and then you're going to drag and click on over to the line that you want. And then we're going to go down to the next piece and click here. And that's how you actually connect one line to multiple pattern pieces. So we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Hover over, hold down the shift key, click, click, and then click here, making sure your notches are in the right direction. Perfect. And we're going to do the same thing here on the back. And we're just going to go through this process. All right, same thing here. Hold down the shift key, click, go down, and click. Hold down the shift, click. Up, let me go back. There we go, perfect. And we'll do the same thing to the sleeves. Click, shift, click, and click. And one more. And once you get the hang of it, once you start doing it more often, it becomes easier to do, and you'll be able to do this for so many pieces of your garment. All right, perfect. So we were able to sew that together. So now the process is going to be very similar. I'm going to go ahead and open this up just a little bit, and I'm going to simulate to make sure everything is connected properly and that the shirt is doing what it's supposed to be doing. As you can see, it is a different type of design that we created. So now we have more pieces based on the last t-shirt. All right, fits pretty good. All right, perfect. All right, so what we're going to go ahead and do is export this particular block out by hitting the icon on the right. And we're going to select the proper folder, and we're going to rename it. You can create, of course, any name you like. I'm just going to simply add a 02 and hit save. Use block component thumbnail, hit OK. And now I'm going to hit the refresh, and now we have two completely different pieces here. So now what we want to do is do the same thing to the sleeve, but this time we'll do it inside the sleeve folder. Rename it. Hit save, hit OK. And just to double check, go into the sleeves folder, and there you have it. All right, so you pretty much learned how to create blocks and also how to edit your garment and your blocks. Let's go ahead and see how our changes work in the viewport directly. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and select my edit tool. I'm gonna go and change this, and what we're gonna do is double click on one of the blocks that we created. If it doesn't change in your viewer, just select the other block to make that change in your viewer. And it may take a little bit of time for loading, but what I'm going to do is go ahead and simulate. And so now you're actually using the block that we created. We double click on the other one. As you can see, now we're using the front piece. This piece doesn't have all the different pattern pieces that we created. And you can also see that by looking in your 2D pattern window that your front body portion is completely different than with the different sleeves. So this sleeve has the hem, but your front, your body, and your front and your back is the pieces that were not that way. So let's go ahead and change the sleeves. You just simply double click on that, and you can see those changes take place right there in the 3D viewer. And you just hit simulate, and there's your pieces. And this really just gives you a great opportunity to create different designs and iterate on your designs as your ideas change, and you can continue to use those pieces throughout your whole process. All right, so I think that looks pretty good, but before we call it quits, I think I will make another change to the garment. Let's go ahead and reactivate our garment, and I'm gonna add, let's see here, maybe I'll add some additional cuts to this garment piece. So let's do that. Go here just for fun. We're just gonna go ahead and create another piece here. And I'm just going to go ahead and select that line, right click, cut and sew. And of course, remember, when you make major changes like that, you're going to have to re-sew your garment to the cage. And just remember that every time you make those types of changes, you're going to have to re-sew everything together. And just go ahead and sew this here, and now we have 3 pieces. So remember, you hover over that line, hold the shift key, click, 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 and there, click. All right, perfect. All right, nice. All right, so as you can see, I was able to create another piece. Now what we want to do now is simply save out that particular block, and we're going to go into the proper folder. This is the folder here, so I'm just going to rename it again, and you can of course rename it what you like. I'm just going to add a 3, hit save, hit OK, then hit refresh, and there you go. And so we have yet another design built on the last. Let your computer load by clicking, and now we actually have the block loaded. And now we have 3 different garments you can choose from. You got to keep in mind that having the ability to create the blocks really open up so many opportunities in terms of just iterating on your designs, being able to have a base block you can build from each time, especially once you get that one size you really like. So this was really designed as a way to help you understand it from a very basic foundational level, and then now you can move on into things that are more complex. I just hope that you guys experiment with more and let me know in the comments what you guys do. Thanks. Bye.